Hi, I'm John Weeks, and this is the Standards Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, experts predict ice-free days in the Arctic. First though, there's a fresh warning about not getting enough sleep, and this time a lack of shut-eye is being linked with a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. According to a study, those who sleep less than 6 hours every night may have a 16% higher risk of developing the condition. The team found that overall, people with the healthiest diets, aka minimal amounts of meat but lots of fruit, veg and fish, were found to have a 25% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes, but those who slept less than 6 hours a day were still at an increased risk. The researchers said their work suggests healthy eating alone can't compensate for chronic sleep deprivation, but admitted further studies are needed to validate the overall findings. Now, were you hit by the mass Facebook, Instagram, and Threads outage yesterday? All three of Meta's social networks were hit by problems, with some users unable to log in, while others were logged out, unable to reset their passwords or access their accounts. The website Down Detector, which collects status reports on certain sites and apps, reported more than 300,000 problems on Facebook and more than 25,000 Insta outages. Andy Stone, communications director at Meta, posted on X that the whole thing was caused by a technical issue and said they resolved the issue as quickly as possible for everyone who was impacted. The list of games up for the EE Players' Choice Bafta Awards 2024 have been revealed, and our very own gaming expert, Vicky Jessop, was on the judging panel.
There was some industry, some absolute pros, but then there's also a really nice mix of basically just people that love to game, some streamers. So yeah, it was quite relaxed. There was a lot of discussion though. I think it was about 3 hours long in the end.
The titles shortlisted for the prize include the highly rated Baldur's Gate 3.
Blesses me this day. Together.
Alongside Fortnite, Cyberpunk 2077, Spider-Man 2, Lethal Company, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Zelda, we rely on your knight and that legendary sword he carries.
Vicky told us why the judging panel chose those 6 games.
It's the games that have had the biggest impact on players throughout the course of the year. But each game kind of was nominated for a different reason, if that makes sense. So Baldur's Gate 3, for instance, has just been so massive online. And there's games like Lethal Company, which basically, really took off on TikTok, which is kind of like fun, horror, comedy, multiplayer game.
It's the only Bafta Games award voted for by the public. And Vicky told us which one she thinks will be the winner.
I think it's kind of between Baldur's Gate 3, just because, again, the game was so huge, and potentially Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, just because it was so hotly anticipated, this beloved original Zelda game, and Tears of the Kingdom basically managed to build on it and make it even better than the first game, if that's possible.
Next, researchers from the University of Colorado Boulder are predicting the Arctic will reach what they call its first ice-free summer days in the next few years. It doesn't mean no ice at all, though. Ice-free is defined by scientists as less than 1 million square kilometres of ice cover, just 20% of what the average minimum cover was in the 1980s. Normally, over the summer months, ice in the region melts, reducing the area of frozen ocean, and then increases again over the winter months. However, reaching that ice-free point at the end of a summer would cause huge changes, such as increasing warming by reducing the heat-reflecting capacity of the white ice, coastal erosion, and pressure on wildlife such as polar bears. Experts warn the menopause is not a disease and is being over-medicalised. A group of scientists from institutions including the Royal Women's Hospital in Melbourne, Australia, and King's College London say high-income countries like the UK see the menopause as a medical problem or hormone deficiency disorder. However, they said that women all over the world manage their symptoms without medical treatment, and argued that there's a lack of data on whether health problems are caused by menopause or simply by aging. The experts are calling for a new approach to managing the menopause based on health empowerment, where women are given the knowledge, confidence, and self-determination to self-manage their health and make informed decisions. Coming up, how many steps a day to cut your risk of early death? And all you need to know about Dodge's first American muscle EV. Welcome back. Now, some good news for ramblers. A study suggests walking up to 10,000 steps a day lowers the risk of heart disease and early death, even if people spend most of their day sitting down. Experts have previously found that people who spend a lot of time sitting while awake, such as at their desks or watching TV, are more likely to suffer an early death and develop heart disease. But until now, it's been unclear whether walking can offset the effects of sitting down for most of the day. The study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that every extra step above 2,200 a day, up to around 10,000, reduces these risks regardless of how much of the remaining time is spent sitting. So, what's the optimal amount of walking for your health? Well, experts found the lowest risk of early death was among people who took 9,000 to 10,500 steps every day. And finally, Dodge has officially unveiled its first American muscle EV, the 670 horsepower electric Charger Daytona. It features a 100.5 kilowatt-hour battery, can go from 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, and Dodge is quoting a range of 317 miles. But to keep the muscle car image intact, they've added some quirks, including the one key thing missing from a typical EV: any engine or exhaust sound. For the electric Charger, they've included what they're calling a fratsonic chambered exhaust system, which effectively pumps out loud engine noises through external speakers when you put your foot down to replicate the sounds of a V6 or a V8. You're up to date. We are back tomorrow afternoon at 1. See you then.